That's it, everybody. Welcome to the Overwatch League, brought to you by the phrase, the talent is there. If I hear that word,
Talent's there.
Phrase one more time, I'm going to lose it. Oh my giddy aunt. It is insane. That being said, look, we've seen it be applicable in a few situations here. It definitely will get thrown at both of these teams at respective times, as the London Spitfire have had their bounce back here in the Midseason Madness, right? Look like they're starting to find their feet in a big way, and their strength of schedule's pretty reasonable for them. Here's good chance we see them in the Midseason Madness.
Yeah, they've looked awesome here in our second part of the season, the Midseason Madness. London fans, they're not missing Prop anymore, not missing Gesture.
Are you sure?
This team is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they've taken it to another level.
All right, just check.
They have the talent here, Mitch.
Okay, yeah,
go.
talent's there, for sure. Here's your lineup.
Talent is there, for sure.
Now, Hardy's going to be starting in here. Obviously, we've seen a little bit of Poco for the London Spitfire. Hardy with Reinhardt on maps like Oasis in the past, so keep an eye out for that one. Then we had a lovely little flank shatter to secure the win last time we saw him there. Going to be Backbone and Sparker here. And obviously the usual Admiral and Landon at support. I mean, worth pointing out, Hardy, stats-wise, look, it's not mind-blowing, but I will say he's second in the league for charge kills at 3.3 per 10. So you'd think he'd be first. Again, there's a lot more to it than that, but still, he's definitely had that X-factor for the Spitfire map when it's counted.
Yeah, and I think with Hardy in the game and Backbone with Oasis being map number 1, you're looking at potentially some Reinhardt comps, right? Maybe even Backbone. We've seen him play some Mei, right? I think we've seen him play Genji, but I think Mei has really looked probably his best. So potentially some kind of like Mei Reinhardt style compositions here in this map number 1, cooking up for the London Spitfire.
All right, let's head across the aisle and look at their opponents. It will be the Paris Eternal, a team who's just managed to sort of clinch their first win in the Overwatch League. Duff now has a headshot. Everything is right with the world. Paris now 1-8. And look, finding that first victory again, getting the monkey off their back in a big way. A long way to climb though. They're still minus 18 in that map differential. Meanwhile, the Spitfire sits up there at +4. They're in 6th place. So quite a deficit between these two teams. A lot of fans may be hoping to see the Eternal sort of recover in the same way as we saw from London. Wasn't the case. They had a few shuffles in sort of personnel, Matt, that they had to integrate before they could really get running.
Yeah, I don't think you can compare them to London in this, that they're going to have the same type of trajectory, right? I think adding Dove has been great, right? They've kind of been moving around pieces on this roster. This seems like, you're kind of like building towards a future for Paris Eternal, and even the second half of the season, right? You make a run, maybe you're able to squeak into the top 10 and sneak your way into the playoffs, right? You get into the stage 3 tournament, you end up getting some points there. It's still possible for Paris, just kind of building for the long game.
Yeah, and they're definitely thinking a bit more about stage 3.
Yeah, there you go. Don flashing that cup. Shout out to Packing 10 for getting that approved, that they can use those cups. He's asking us the other day.
Over the moon. Hydration now at their very fingertips, Matt. What a game changer.
They're so happy for the hydration. Maybe this will be the turning point in the season.
All right. Oasis is going to be our first map of the series. Cast your minds back. The last time we saw Garden.
It didn't sound like you had an opinion on that, of whether the hydration was going to turn them around or not.
Not particularly. Yeah.
See what it does for plants, though. Never know.
City Center will be our first stage here on Oasis. And I wonder, the Reinhardt playing gets much harder to execute here.
This is going to be Reinhardt play. I'd be like kind of surprised if we see like anything else out of London. That we know how good they are with it. Seeing them probably come out and play here with the Backbone and Hardy. That's what I would expect them to run.
All right. Be there in just a moment here. Yeah, week 18 of 2021, where the Eternal was well ahead of the London Spitfire. Bit more of a languishing season for that London team, who everyone really expected to really make waves after having come up from contenders, and a lot of people saw them dominate in that region. Hardy Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, I mean, this point's not really great for the Reinhardt. If you're going to like play against the team that's going to play some kind of like Wrecking Ball stuff and come from multiple directions, you're just kind of like standing alone. I think probably the other points you'll see some of that Reinhardt play come in as, it'll be the Wrecking Balls with Sombra on both sides. So Sombra Chaser, it's be pretty aggressive play.
All right. Mirrored compositions here. Dana already wants to try and start things off as Backbone's got himself a relatively comfortable spot and a hacked Mega, which is going to be pretty important if this fight drags out a little bit. Darn extremely low and also can't use that health pack, so needs to just hope that Khan can keep him topped up. That's really going to be a difference maker in the longer game. There you go. Hacked health pack once more. Hardy slurps it up.
Yeah, having control of that health pack is massive. You see Don has to like get all the way out of the way, and even with the support line they're trying to run with this Moira Lucio, it's so difficult for them to give him the healing he needs, where they have to back out for a little bit.
Still, Paris in a decent position here on the point. That hack is mostly expired, and there's no fighting happening over that side of the map anymore. It looks like the Eternal have given up trying to fight for the high ground. Now it's for the point itself. Dove looking to harass Backbone down a little bit more now. Pulse Bomb on Admiral. Good start here. No Lucio left the London Spitfire here, relying on Landon. And those healing orbs are coming thick and fast. It may just not be enough.
Yes, it looks like London will have to back out. They'll end up having their own pulse bomb for this next fight. And you see how far Hardy is towards this minefield. Already has it. Don, 50%. It's just because Hardy was able to do so much more work at the beginning, right? Because Don had to back out to the point.
Moira Lucio fights mean those coalescences get built up pretty quickly, and here comes the first. It's Khan gonna let it go here. Sparker recalling from the fray. Landon, though, finding his coalescence connection on the Khan midway through. Dove forced away there. Pulse Bomb not connecting. 30% here for the Paris Eternal as Dove is really trying to duck and dive away.
Yeah, he's trying to keep this going for as long as possible. It's Don getting hacked here. He will fall. This should be London. Yep, they will flip the point back in their favor. So Hardy with that minefield on the backside of the point. Landon with a coalescence. They followed all that up, backed them off the point. Able to pick up a few kills there and secure the flip. For Paris Eternal here, Mitch, coming back in, you have an EMP of your own, and you have a sound barrier to combo with it. You still don't have this minefield, which the minefield would be good to like almost kick off the fight, just dropping in the back. Oh.
Yeah, Backbone waiting here for one.
Yeah.
Yep. Unfortunately, he sits out of the fight, so he follows up. Going to be an EMP here, but the sound barrier was there for Dridro. So really, the London Spitfire come off soundly second best in that engagement. Wonder what Backbone's hoping for there, just to defeat the Sombra as she comes out?
Yeah, I think maybe he was waiting for, like, maybe he doesn't think that they have EMP on the other side, that Wub has it. Oh, is he going to have to die early? That's going to be good. Sound barrier from London as they want to push in.
Oh, no!
All right, well.
Oh, Khan gets close enough. Spark going to take him down with the pulse. Look, it's acceptable, but the Eternals still have control of the point right now. They got 40% of capture progress with only one final blow, did Paris, and they still hold serve for the time being. This is why this composition is so frustrating here, because stall is inevitable, and it's very, very hard to clean off the enemy team and take control. London have done that just now, but they had to fight for it.
I think what Backbone was trying to go for previously was when Wub was trying to use that translocator, or they actually got him in a fight. They were going to destroy it, and then he was going to come back with the EMP, so he had no way out. But it ends up Wub with the EMP a little bit earlier, but Coalescence here going to have to be big.
Yeah, Landon fires off the orb first, as you do. Make sure he's going to have that available after Coalescence, but for now it's very aggressively slanted here. Paris taking a beating. McCann's going to have a Coalescence of his own. A little bit awkward here for the London Spitfire, because they can't match these. Hardy hacked, and Khan keeping a respectful distance here now. Very chaotic round. And look, these compositions here, it's really hard to deal with the Traces. There's not a lot of damage. Traces are obviously so survivable, able to get out here. So London in a good spot, just controlling their point, and they get rid of Wub as well. This is very, very good for the Spitfire.
And typically in the past with these types of compositions, if you were able to get a hack on a Wrecking Ball, you'd be able to just like burn him down and then kind of play a little bit off of that pick. But with the way Sombra is now, you don't take the abilities off for long enough. It gets a little extra damage, but everybody able to live through it. So it ends up being a little bit more chaotic.
No good for Dove. Oh, okay, on the ground. Admiral actually gets too close to that one. It looks like he might have been stuck in the corner. Landon also goes playing in traffic here, and this is a nightmare scenario for London. Dove needs to double down, though. 3 players still left for the Spitfire, but they opt to give up the point this time.
Yeah, you have to. You come back in with your own sound barrier and EMP of your own. There's no reason to just try and fight for it at that position. You have a lot of good ultimates here to use to potentially take it back.
EMP comes out just before Dan hits the pile driver, and Khan's able to remove Admiral again.
Did Admiral get that off?
Yep. Oh dear. Did that get Ajaxed?
I don't think he got it off,
Yeah. That's absolutely brutal there for Admiral. It's a nightmare round, whichever way you slice it. He may have been hacked in midair, may have taken him too long to come to the ground. Either way, they have no sound barrier in that fight. Backbone waiting for a chance to use the EMP. He's going to salvage the situation here, but he gets spotted by the ball. The EMP goes off onto 2 players, Dove and Dom, but they're kept alive. Wobb's able to pick off Backbone. Eventually, they bring the Wrecking Ball down thanks to that EMP. But this could go either way. 4 players up for both teams now. Dove hoping to build up towards a pulse bomb if he can. You can see in the periphery, Khan trying to keep him up. But Dridro's gone down. That mobility compromised here. Dove, recall, won't have that for another 10 seconds or so. It needs to back away here. He'll have to play safer into overtime as they allow the point to flip to the Spitfire. Paris have everybody up. Oh no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no! No.
I see I didn't miss much in a week I was gone.
No, no, no.
A lot of the same shenanigans happened. No, I think maybe somebody was coming in and Hadi knocked him back. I think that was kind of what it looked like with a roll in the front. But Hadi went huge there at the end. They were able to pick up 2 kills. This is where you're going to see the composition we were talking about in the pregame with the Reinhardt and the May. Let's see what happens here. Landon, oh yeah, he gets knocked out.
Yeah. No fade.
Oh,
side swipe. I mean, that was like a side mirror at best. I mean, you might have a bruise.
Yeah, I was gonna say. The car, you know, catches an ankle.
Well, London feeling pretty chipper about the way that last round ended, and now they get to come in with the Ryan comp. Dan is not going to match this in a gentleman's chivalry.
And this is kind of what London wants to play, right? These Reinhardt-based comps. You have Backbone on the May. I know probably one of his best looks that we've seen thus far. We'll see if Paris is able to execute this dive. It's going to be really difficult.
Khan there in an awkward position. That wall made it impossible for him to get back to safety. He'll have to nade himself now or just wait for that support passive to kick in. The latter is actually the case here. Mutual knockdown could be dangerous for Dan. He's also been hacked. Yep, power block's not going to save him. Immortality field thrown down there by Landon, and it does help keep Hadi standing. That's some smooth moves there from Backbone as Dridro's not able to get away. And Doug takes a massive hit. That is beautiful stuff from Backbone.
So it makes it so hard to dive, especially when they have the May in the mix, because it's so deadly. Because the Reinhardt has great survivability, the May does as well with the ice block. Then you also have the immortality field in the way. You're just not going to outlast that, especially when Sparker is able to hack one and get a little bit of a damage amp on somebody. Well, okay, that's going to be an ice skull that Backbone hits at range on Khan. That's going to ruin even the second push that comes in. I do like the switch to the Echo here. There's nothing really that London has that's going to be super effective against the Echo. I think if you were going to kind of combo a dive DPS with the Doomfist that was going to be successful against this, it would definitely be the Echo instead of having the Tracer in play.
Sparker gets a hack on Khan there. No sleep, no bio nade crucially available. So that's a pretty easy pick-off. Ana has no self-healing when she's hacked. Lovely stuff from Sparker here. Actually getting a heck of a lot done on this Sombra pick. 6 final blows to the 1 death.
Yes, there's been nothing that's gone on here for Paris on this point. It's really what they've had. That first elongated fight doesn't go their way. Then you have a early pick-off from Backbone, and then you have another early pick-off. So not been able to get anything going, and you're already at 70%. Look at this. You lose Dove. Large source of the damage, right? Being able to, like, build up the railgun shots off of the shield of the Reinhardt and make a play. Now he's out of the equation.
Dan is so frustrated right now. The Sombra continually hacking him, and Backbone just, you know, throwing up a wall. There's, you know, boops coming in from Admiral. Dan essentially playing on his own there, in all fairness. 0 final blows for the entire map right now for Dan over Wrecking Ball and Doomfist here. So frustrating here. The Eternal really haven't been very present here. London is stifling them.
You haven't even, like, seen any ultimates come out of Paris, right? Have they even gotten anything? They're going to get the Nano now, but these, like, these fights have been such, like, nothings that they haven't been able to build it up. That's
unreal. The EMP there from Sparker. All he wanted, Matt, was the Sojourn, and he gets what he came for. Dridro's also going to get brought down. Look, Wav gets a nano boost, which is fine. Allows him to play more aggressively to pick off that Lucio. But Hadi, uncharacteristic Shadow. Okay, well, it depends who you ask. Shadow miss there from Hadi. Either way, it's going to be a Meteor Strike from Dan to try and get out of jail. And so he does, but he... Oh, dear. Well, he can't touch. And the Paris Eternal... An absolutely horrendous second map there as London just shut them out.
That was as dominant as you'll see. Overwatch is not a game that's entirely based on ultimates, but obviously they have some of the most impact in the game. And if your team's only going to actually be able to utilize 2 in a whole round of control, you're most likely not going to win that one. As you needed some switches from the DPS, you're also losing people early. Really tough go there for Paris.
All right, hate to see it. The London Spitfire looking extremely dominant so far. Though it's hard to get to go back on that Reinhardt. Let's see what else the Eternal have been working on. It's about time they bust something out. Well, like we were talking about at the top of the show, it is the hardy Reinhardt off and leading the charge for the London Spitfire. We saw it in that previous round there. Although, in honesty, he didn't exactly have to blow our minds in that previous round. All of the Spitfire looked like they were very well drilled and they were just very comfortable. A lot of disruption from that Sombra really made it impossible, Matt, for the Eternal to have much of an impact.
I mean, they had no impact in the second round. I mean, nothing really happened. They lost like players before they could even really get fights going. Part of it, the Sombra play, part of it, I know just some nice shots by Backbone, it playing the Mei.
Okay, what's going on here? Oh, hold on. Is that okay? Backbone
Yeah, we got some
Admiral here.
All right, yeah. So you got Vistola in as a tank now for Paris. Shax will come in for Backbone. Backbone will now move to support here for Admiral. So tells you Eichenwald probably don't want the Lucio play. We'll see what Backbone gives us in terms of support. They've kind of thrown him around everywhere so far this season. We'll see how he goes in support. What kind of hat is he wearing? They're all wearing the same hat now. Are they passing the hat around? What's that hat say?
Not sure.
Let's get a close-up on Hardy. What's that say?
Is it like a Overwatch League 5th season hat or something like that? Either way.
I know. Nobody messaged us about that. We gotta see.
Yeah. Sort it out.
Hydration improved.
Big
Hats, who knows?
All right.
Oh no, I pass all the tough stuff. I pass on to Sid and Sean. All the cool stuff that people want to like be happy about. That's stuff I'm like, yeah, I'll try and take that. Yeah.
That's our director of stuff, ladies and gentlemen, Matt Morello.
The director of stuff. Yep.
All right, let's talk Eichenwald here. Obviously, makes you feel like the Spitfire want a double flex support option here. Maybe Admiral's just not really super comfortable in that position.
Yeah, it would be weird. Like, yeah, I think that's probably the setup you would want. Paris, they're gonna end up playing the Brig Zen on defense here with a Genji. Maybe that's the type of setup you wanted, and maybe Backbone is able to play some of the Brig or Zen. It gives you a little bit of a buff to your support line. I do feel like if you were going to try something like this, right, and try and make it work for London, like this is probably the match to do it, not like wait to the mid-season madness or something. So this is something that they believe in. Why not go and try it right now? As shot from Shax does not connect. So looks like Backbone currently on the break. We'll see if this sticks. Looks like Hadi going back to change. So maybe, yeah, a little bit of a switch up here. So we'll see the Winston.
All right. Hadi making that Winston switch here. Something we're seeing a lot less of. And interesting to see that paired up against the Sigma. They're really trying to circumvent him as much as is humanly possible. As you can see right there, Hadi wants to try and shield dance as much as he can here. And Backbone really just wants to sit on laner for the time being, right? Make sure that Ana is hailing Hadi for as long as possible.
Yeah, able to just kind of swing here, deny any flankers an opportunity. Wup has to be very careful about how he moves against this backline.
Sparker picked off though. Dredro's able to find the whip shot. How have the backlines gotten so close to allow for that? That's odd. Maybe he shifted forward. Now, yeah, it makes sense for Dove to go aggressive. He's tried to wrap around the backside, and Paris are slowly picking this Spitfire offensive apart.
Is not a great first push there for London. Is Paris able to pick up a few kills there. Khan doing some damage at a distance. So now we'll see Backbone on the Zen. Okay, so I mean, this makes a little bit more sense. A lot of like the main support players can play Brig and play Brig at a high level. Main support's kind of flexing over to the Zenyatta. It's a little bit rougher. So we'll see how Backbone now plays on a flex support.
All right, the Zen. Off the Brig here, so maybe less concerned about sort of peeling for backline and more about the poke game here. Although with the Winston, it's always an interesting look. Well, often that transcendence and ooh, up. That's the problem for Genji sometimes. If your spacing isn't pretty spot on with a Winston afoot, you're going to get caught.
No, and nothing like a Nano Boost to be able to help him out as a distance keep him alive, as this is a Nano plus Primal here dedicated to Hadi as he's trying his best to get rid of Khan, but gets the Transcendence off at the right time.
I think Hardy's okay with that. He can go and get top back up in the back line, but Paris have been sitting on so many of these key ultimates now. If you give them enough time to get back into the fight, they'll overpower you with sheer force of ability here. Wub's Blade, well, okay, there's another ultimate that doesn't quite work out. That's 0 for 2, Matt.
Yeah, but Mitch, that was a Blade comboed with a rally to try and make that play there, and it did not result in anything but Sparker putting down some damage, 2 railgun shots, and London taking that first point. And Backbone looking all right on the Zen thus far. Zen is in a spot where, you know, Discord obviously extremely strong. I mean, Zen just as a hero right now, extremely strong, right? Like, very difficult to take out. You see like the shielding with the buffed support passive, Discord, and just how much damage he can pump out with other players. Extremely strong. So if you have a DPS player who can pick that up and play at a high level, that could be a huge boon for the London Spitfire.
Shax is looking pretty comfortable so far, despite the duress he's apparently being put under. The Spitfire here able to dig the Eternal out.
I was gonna say, is that your definition of comfortable? Like 20 HP standing on the corner
look at the look
of
on
like
his
a
face.
Winston bubble, barely. Yeah.
He just he doesn't look like under pressure
He always has
at all.
the same. I mean, he always has the same kind of expression.
I guess it's like Kai.
Face.
It's like the four faces of Kai. It's all the same.
This is really a terrible spot for Paris, if I'm honest. You have well, I mean, now you've lost Dove. You have no ultimates to work with here. London has taken the high ground. In has an ultimate advantage. I mean, that's a really bad spot for Paris. So at least Paris has gotten control of high ground, right? They've kind of bullied them off of the high ground. But it almost doesn't matter because the payload's going to get to a point where they're going to have to go down and contest.
Hardy's going to get so much value here. Yeah, he
He's
builds that primal.
Yeah.
Disruptor shot. Can he force him into the disruptor shot? No, he decides that's not possible. So it has to be a primal here. It takes a little more damage than he would have accounted for initially. Good knockback on the Zen, but no eliminations here as Shax has fallen to Wub. Wub's so low though. Lennon's able to pick him off here. Vistola's also seen better days. That Discord orb really giving him some concerns here. And they're backed up. Look at all the space that Paris have had to concede. And that bio basically seals the deal.
And the Transcendence popped here by Khan at the end, so they're not going to have that for this next point as Sparker and crew, they run on in. They want to pick up some kills here. Try and stagger just a little bit as London, their early comp did not look good at all since they made some adjustments. Now they've gotten rolling.
Paris here. Blade rally. So that combo that was, well, so poorly used in that previous fight. That first fight is available again. Hopefully it's a little more adroit this time around. Here's the rally. Wub though, no Blade. Discipline here as the Spitfire look to disengage. Now they lack the Lucio, bear that in mind, so it's a little harder. Landon, yeah, disintegrates there. Hardy creates a bit of spacing with the bubble.
You do need a fight win, right, of your Paris? Is it a lot to invest your rally to kind of just run all the way down? Like, they're trying to just chase anybody down, and then use the Gravitic Flux just to get the Ana. I mean, I guess you've gotten the kill out of it. But yeah, you may see them try and push and take advantage of this.
Oh gosh, that's devastating. I think there was a Bionade that came in from Landon. Yeah, that really helped set it up nicely. Dreedron can't get flattened there. And just with the Eternal, looked like they were able to buy themselves a bit of breathing room and maybe let them establish on the broken door. They get flattened here by the Winston turn. And I think Dove's also in trouble. There's no way you're getting out of that one. Paris just have to hope to hold these ultimates here. It's going to have to be overclock Blade straight out of the gates here. And there might not be enough time for even that, Matt.
Yeah, and even with Wub using the Blade, he's going to be under big damage. You see already, like, basically dead.
Rails are plenty here. Sparker firing them off. Bob's able to get rid of Hardy at the very least and save that Blade, crucially. Discord orb on him. No, and it's an easy pick off for Sparker. Okay, evening the ledger a little bit more now. Spawn advantage obviously favoring the Eternal, but the pressure remains on.
And we'll see if London tries to collapse on this or they wait for Hadi. Hadi should be back right about now, yeah. So you see him get back into the fight. They do have the Transcendence as this off angle from Backbone's been nice.
Hardy again, big dive. Look at how he just takes over this part of the map. That allows Backbone to move up and play a bit more aggressively. He knows he has the Transcendence, so there's always a get out of jail free option. Dove is brought down. Gravitic Flux here with the Blade. Yep, Landon just suspended long enough for Wub to pick him off. It's an easy marionette to find purchase upon. And Wub finds two with the Blade. That'll be enough here. We're headed to a minute left in the round.
Yeah, and that's the downside of having to use that Transcendence early, right? You don't have it to combat the Blade or even the Gravitic Flux from the Paris Eternal, but London, they'll come back here. Mitch, Nano, Pulse Bomb, in a Primal with an opportunity to get the cart over the line.
Hardy wants to try and get information before he dives, so in order to do that, he has to walk up, which is risky, just like this. Nice job by Pistola, really moving up and making sure that the Eternal have the space. Hardy's Primal, they might be turning this around. If he can get behind the Brig, okay, no, but still able to dive on a Dredro. Hardy a little unsure about where the Brig had gotten to there. There should be a lot of proximity killing, but not enough to keep Dove alive. How is that possible? Oh, that's so brutal. Pistola moves back out here now on the Diva, but hit with a Discord Orb immediately. Biotic Grenade also to combo with that. London have come up with the answer here, no doubt about it. Dredro went back to spawn to try and heal, but now he's done, well and truly.
Yeah, and they complete the map with 7 seconds in the time bank. I gotta say, Hardy's primals on this map, man, have been sick. Like, he's been able to come up with some big primal rages, like kills, displacement, being able to just buy London some space, also kind of turn the tides of some fights. Been a real big difference maker. You know, Backbone, right, going over to the Zen. Would I talk about, you know, him as like one of the best Zens in the world? Probably not, but like he was fine there. Yeah, you know, and you got to think like how difficult it is for like, going from a DPS to then play a support like in the same match, like back to back, especially when you're playing like a Sombra May and then a Zen, like obviously way different mindset feel. And he's able to come in and pick up some crucial kills. You know, the Transcendence usage was nice. So Backbone looking pretty solid this far.
Yeah, look, 5 and 2, with about the same amount of damage that Shax did. So pretty comparable contribution. Sparker looks to shut that down. Nicely done. Might have had a Harmony Orb on him as well. Nice, very clean.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're not even full charge rails, right? You know, at some point you get a feel for just how much charge you need to guarantee a kill. You can't always guarantee that you're going to get a headshot though, right? So it's a bit more of a feel thing than a calculated thing. Time in the bank here for the Spitfire after finish their map. Getting a lot of Winston mileage here, which is really something we haven't seen much of from the Spitfire.
How do you feel about this Sigma on offense? We've seen it from a lot of teams, but we usually see like the Sigma in like a mirror matchup, right? Against the Winston, how do you feel about it?
So you have mechanisms to stave off the Winston if he tries to dive your backline. You're not playing Bat Zen, you're playing Bat Brig here. So you want to play pretty compact, want to benefit from proximity healing, and I think there's a lot of really dangerous scenarios for Hardy that he has to be aware of, right? You get stuck with the Discord and sort of locked down, it's all over Red Rover.
Oh, Con was so low. Yeah, that rail shot gets him really weak, and then Shax goes in and finishes him off.
What's the point of having Sigma if you can't benefit from the shield in moments like that? Like, you don't get pierced on Railgun until you have overclock, so...
Right, and I also... Yeah, the Sigma, like, head-to-head is, like, way cleaner, right? When Pistola goes in towards this, like, left-hand side from his point of view and goes into that little room, the Winston jumps down and just puts down so much cleave damage on you, and then they also have the Ana for the Biotic Grenade, right? It can get really dicey fast.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure on your healers who don't have burst healing, right? It's all over time, and Brig requires there to be a target within arm's reach to benefit from that Inspire proc, outside of just using the whip shot, right? So it's a little bit hard to deal with the poke damage with this comp.
Right, and the Winston's really good against the Genji, especially with Zen with the Discord and now the kick, right, to even get him a little bit further away. We saw right there that he dashes in, Backbone connects with a kicks, knocks him back just a little bit, but then Hottie like lands right on top of him with the Discord and some extra damage from everybody.
The spacing
finish him off really quick.
Yeah, it lets you create that spacing on the Genji as well that leaves you really in danger. It leaves you in the middle of between a Winston and a Zen. Just an awful scenario to be caught in, honestly. That kick, man. Oh. That's why we saw so much poke, I think, brought out, because people were like, I can't be bothered trying to dive these backlines. They're so durable now. All right, here it is, though. Shax putting a fair bit of pressure on Pistola. That Discord Orb means he just bites a little harder. Kinetic Grasp used pretty early in the fight, if I'm honest with you. And Nano on Hardy, he's got to go big here, though, because Lannon's down for the London Spitfire now, so a longer fight doesn't really benefit them unless there's a Transcendence at play. Backbone might have to consider making use of that here. Hardy cycles the Nano into his Primal, but he's been very careful about it, because he sees Rally in play and knows he's not eliminating anybody during that ult.
No, and they've lost Pistola, so he uses the Primal, then backs up. You have your own Transcendence to use, and Backbone will pop it to combo the Blade.
Nothing to do here. The Transcendence in play, and he couldn't catch Shax. So Wobble play for the Honey Lodge for the time being here. Paris going slow, but I don't hate this. Landon's gotten back to the fight, but Wub's going to continue to apply the pressure. A lot of healing available for Hardy there, and a big biotic grenade. That's just massive. Oh my, Landon opens it up.
Oh, that was 2 players connected with the biotic grenade, but still it's going to be Dove using the overclock. He's able to get 2 here. Landon walking back onto the point. He won't last long. And man, that took a turn for the worse at the beginning of that fight for Paris, but they're able to battle back out of it.
Dove bails them out, right, with that overclock. Pretty classy stuff, but I mean, you know, you lose it, Anna, but you have a Transcendence available, right? So you can generally buy enough time for to get that Ana back into the fight. Hardy had a primal as well. Paris here, lower healing. They're really relying on like the effective healing as well of kinetic grasp, because obviously it gives you some health back and mitigates. So turn your head upside down and clock your head slightly, and it is healing. Important to stay alive in those fights here. So let's see, 2:54 on the clock for Paris now. They're the second phase. They've got that gravitic flux.
And if you're London, you have to understand the scenario that you're in. Nice stick there. You've completed the map. You have a little bit of time bank left. There's no reason to kind of like go all out and play really close. Like, just want to drag this part of the map out as long as possible. Even if they were to take checkpoint 2, right? Like right towards the end, they're gonna have what, like a minute and few plus time. But when the door opens at the end and kind of the animation, you're down like a minute. You're really like 2 fights away at that point. So you can hold them here, great, but you really just want to burn as much clock as possible.
London don't want to fight inside the castle if they can help it, because it doesn't really put Hardy in a great position to be able to help them. Beautiful there from Sparker. I mean, how often do you see that?
So they don't want to fight inside of the castle, but they also don't mind like the kind of round and around game of like Paris trying to get high ground, them rotating out, them trying to chase down London, like, because it just bleeds more time, and it bleeds more time where nobody is on the payload. So the payload's not making any progress. They're just kind of like jockeying for position. It wastes like 20 seconds, 30 seconds off the clock. You do that twice, you're down to like,
I mean, they've burnt 90 seconds here, Matt.
Yeah.
90. And like, this is like Dorado first positioning. The Winston is really hard to get to before the fight starts. He always gets to play reactive here. Wub trying to keep track of Shax. No mean feat. Big bio grenade, but it's going to be cancelled out pretty quickly. Can't found backbone of the early fight here. And we see that, Hardy's a little bit concerned about Wub. Discord Orb means that this Tracer is extra deadly. Nice pick off there. Karma 2.
You see the London kind of doing what I was talking about. Is like you play this long game. No reason to invest any ultimates to try and hold there. Like, keep this here for this last part on the bridge. A minute to go, you dump everything into this. You have a huge ultimate advantage over Paris. You win this fight, it's very unlikely Paris even takes that second checkpoint.
Hardy should primal first here, because with the way the card is, the environmental kills are a little bit easier. Once it gets up to the door, then maybe you think it makes sense to nano earlier. If it's even going to be him who receives it, which is an assumption, I'll admit. All right, here's Hardy primal now. Nano being held on to for the time being, and Spark has a great vantage point trying to play sniper here. London using many of these ultimates, but never had a chance to use Nano. Lennon's already down in this fight. Khan, another early pick-off on a support map.
Yeah, so you'll have a kill here that just goes down to Dove at the end. Khan is going to get killed light. So he may need to switch off even to make it back here on the Zen. You see from the overhead perspective. Not looking good. Also, you save the Nano and the Pulse Bomb during that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's great. I mean, you give Hardy that Nano here, and he just gets about 40% of his ult charge through that. Or you keep him alive. Okay, so awkward spacing for Hardy. He's just used jump, so he's going to lose 3 seconds of that Nano, if not more. But it's in overtime, right? So Paris, having lost their Diva now, their environmental kill potential and their durability, they're in deep trouble here. Spark are able to find another disruptor shot kill, which is kind of wild to me. Wipes Pulse Bomb finding Landon is going to help, but it's just not enough. And look, plainly speaking, London are just the better team right now, mate. They look way more comfortable in this series.
Look, when we were in Dallas, everybody was saying, man, the London Spitfire are unbelievable in scrims right now. A lot of times, some of that unbelievable in scrims doesn't carry over into the regular season games, but it definitely has here in the Midseason Madness for London. They've looked great. When everyone starts saying it, though, that's when I start to think, okay, maybe this isn't just sort of sandbagging. Maybe there is something to this. I'll give London credit, though, because it's not with the Reinhardt composition. This team is actually developing depth. They use a Reinhardt comp to give them the breathing space to work on these other setups. And now they're playing Winston against this Sigma, and it's looking very, very good.
multi-dimensional London Spitfire. Good looks right now as they head to match point. Don't go too far, everybody. The Eternal need to show us something, well, very different to what we've seen so far. Want a chance to earn cash and rewards while watching the Midseason Madness qualifiers? Then don't be me and miss your Day 1 APAC Preds. It's easy. Head over to the pick'em.overwatchleague.com site and make your picks. Then you can create your own private leaderboards, your own group of friends. Great for bragging rights, of course, but there is some prizes up for grabs to get involved in our pick'ems this year. Oh, look, I mean, Matt, when I was sort of looking over today's matches, I thought hard about this game and I said, well, London have just turned their season around, really. They are 6-3, going on potentially 7-3 with a win here. That is a seriously good record after a really average first few weeks.
I mean, barring something that unforeseen, yeah, 7-3, right? With how they've been playing today. And with no real kind of roster movement, right? No real changes, just kind of like getting a little bit more time, figuring out the meta, figuring out what works for them and how to play it against other teams. So Backbone back to DPS here. Pogo in for Hottie. as we do have Circuit Royals, so probably going to see a lot of Sigma play.
Got to hand it to Backbone, Matt. Thought his Eichenwald play was really solid. Just looking over the stats there, big impact on the Zen. 5-2 at one point. That actually just continued to improve over the course of this series. So we talk about depth of compositions, right? Depth of, you know, roster filling with Poco able to come in here. We know we can play a pretty mean Sigma. Even though we also know that the Spitfire can beat Sigma-based comps. I mean, they're more than happy to play the Winston. Backbone looked also fantastic on Oasis, right? That May, really, really impactful. But Spitfire have to finish the map on a Circuit Royale. So Poco, the jawline of Diamond, comes in.
And we know how good he is on the Sigma, so Vistola definitely has his hands full in that Sigma on Sigma matchup.
I feel like Poco's really one of the players I definitely sort of realize that has a great sort of balance as well in and out of game. There's a really healthy lifestyle, and he's often said that it sort of, he feels it carries over into his play, right? That time he spent on the Fusion and a lot of uncertainty in his career as well. You know, he's managed to persist for quite some time through, like I said, many uncertain periods. So definitely a huge boon to the Spitfire. He's quite a veteran of the league by now, really, if you think about it.
Yeah, right. So. Yeah, he's got to be one of our longest tenured players in the league at this point. Poco around season 1.
I mean, he's, yeah, yep. A long time. And even before that, I mean, Poco was, I remember, I used to share this story. He was a Genji player on Gamers Origin, okay, a French mixed team in sort of contenders tier. And obviously he moved up to Fusion University after that and then into the lineup, so. Yeah, true sort of academy promotion. And of course it's going to be the Sigma here, so it's going to be Brig and Zen. It's all about keeping them Zens fighting fit. What is Backbone looking for? Wipe's going to have to go challenge him 1-to-1 there.
Yeah,
how's Poco alive?
Yeah, he gets burned down. So Pogo's done a tremendous job. I mean, well, really, just kind of the support's helping keep him up, as there's so much like passive healing from the Brig with Inspire, and then just the health packs and, you know, an orb.
Yeah, I mean, there was 800
as well.
800 healing in that fight from Admiral, which is insane.
Yeah, it's a little bit easier now, and there's more things to, you know, trigger the Inspire off of. So you lose Dove at the start there. Headshot from Sparker. You'll have to wait a little bit here for Paris to set up this next fight at the corner.
Sparker playing pretty far forward here, Matt. Wants to make sure the Eternal don't get to sit on those stairs safely. Losing Backbone here, though, that's pretty devastating. Nice setup for Vistola. This means Wipe has a lot more freedom now to play that off angle, poke at medium to long range. Admiral, though, goes down here. Khan was removed by Poker, but that's all. So the Spitfire are going to lose out on the neutral there, just because losing that loose end Genji means that they really lack the pressure.
Vistola trying to push up a little bit. Kinetic grasp. Where do you take this next fight if you're London? It looks like you're going to probably have to take it right here where the cart can go through. Don't have Poco back fast enough to challenge this, unless they want to get really aggressive here. I know with the overclock, but it looks like they're going to allow them around the corner a little bit and play. It's almost like similar to like how you kind of play that first corner, right? You just kind of mirror the fight here.
Sparker with that overclock. Decent hit on Dove there, but not enough to silence him. But well and truly enough to move up and take the corner. So this means that Poco now has a, you know, position of entrenchment here, and he can deny that small room on his right. Because that's when the attackers start to get access to the backline. There's a huge pick off on Backbone, though. Headshot on a Genji that's airborne. I mean, not easy to find those. Dove's been excellent so far for Paris.
And the Transcendence comes out, so now you feel free to use this blade, but Wub gets hit with a Discord, some damage, gets a little bit scared, backs up a little bit, but buys enough space for Paris to take that first checkpoint.
It's pretty backbreaking for the Spitfire, Matt. I mean, they've used both of those support ultimates and still end up losing the point in a big way. Backbone is getting bent backwards here by Dove with a lot of these railgun shots. This is brutal for the Genji.
Yeah, well, you know, Backbone will come back. He'll have his Blade. You'll have a Blade Gravitic Flux combo, just like how we saw. They'll be on Khan to get good value with the Transcendence, and then you use it like Transcendence for that Gravitic Flux. You're going to need to, you know, really focus down that Genji, make sure he can have a effective Blade, just like how we saw Wub got scared off a little bit.
See a lot of teams play Traces in these scenarios as well. Can see why you maybe want the Genji, though. Oh, man. Transcendence was always going to be there. I kind of wonder why Backbone fully committed, though. Maybe just force that ult out and go again later.
Yeah, so it's actually not that bad. It's just kind of like the reverse of what we just saw, in which they opened things up with the Gravitic Flux, then followed it up with a Blade. This time they went in with the Blade, they got the Transcendence out, and then followed it up with the Gravitic Flux, so they have absolutely nothing for, right? No immortality, no fast healing that can kind of bring everybody back to life, and you're able to get the advantage off of that.
Now this is being staggered, right? Sparker really starting to play pretty far forward now, and if the Paris Eternal commit to this, oh no. Oh, this is about to be really problematic. Poco wants to push here, Khan down, Admiral picks him off. And the Spitfire, that was about 30 seconds of extra stagger there, Matthew.
Yeah, so now London, this is probably the hardest part of the map for any team to combat. You see, having that high ground advantage is massive, and it's just really steep. And it's not like Eichenwald where like there's the castle you can go through, right, and dodge a lot of this fire. Like, you kind of have to fight this. There's no real option.
Oh, that is beautiful. Another one from Sparker. Dub just disintegrates again.
A lot of the fights, like, you think back to Oasis and stuff, like Paris has been losing players so early in some of these. You don't even want to call them fights, right? Just when they're trying to like get into position to like start an actual fight, they're just losing players and they're not even able to actually do anything. They're just losing so much time off of stuff like that.
Well, there's no neutral with these comps, right? Not really on this part of the map anyway when you have the high ground. It's all about that poke setup and then you just use an ult to start the fight off, right? Or you just win based on a pick that you snowball. Landon trying to wrap around here. Couldn't really get on Dridro though, and yeah, the Spitfire going to get brought down here. They use Rally, so again, another situation where both those support ultimates get used and they still get robbed.
Yeah, Rally on both sides of things. Paris able to hold on to the Transcendence and their Blade coming in.
Yeah. Are
you able to combat this again for London? Are you able to come back and fight this one more time? It looks like they're setting up to potentially try to. You'd have your Overclock, which we've seen Sparker able to pick up some nice shots. And then you have your own Blade and Gravitic Flux combo.
Hey chat, remember, Overclock can kill through Transcendence. All right, here we go. Sparker pops it, playing out right side by the pit stop. Discord Orbit, a bit of pressure there on Wabu's reluctant to Blade so far. Okay, getting caught inside of Gravitic Flux is great. You're going to give the Transcendence healing to your other player, and now you go for the Eternal. They got the checkpoint there, and they used the Blade. There was no support ultimates for the Spitfire to do anything about that anyway.
Yeah, that'll be the cart over the line there. Paris does a nice job battling back uphill, not having to layer their support ult a lot like London did, and getting the cart over that second checkpoint. We'll see what they can do here, though. This is another difficult part of the map. You see they're kind of playing for this pool control. They want to deny that window and deny that space, that sight line, really for the Sojourns to do big damage.
London wants to take control of this high ground, but in order to do that, they have to push the Eternal back. Who really tried to take a lot of ground here. Backbone, okay, he's actually able to get out of the Gravitic Flux, but Poco's able to sneak back around the corner before that becomes an issue. And that cart's moving this whole time. London have to do something about this high ground control. They've got to act now.
Yeah, they have to drop. They have to try and contest this even a little bit.
Vistola stunned up. Okay, I like the front Backbone. He sees Rally, but he knows there's so much pressure on Vistola right now. We can just focus on bringing the tank down and then go finish the job. He still gets both backliners anyway. Nice job from London there, but they left it until the last moment.
They gave up so much progress for free, though.
The question is, how do they reestablish it now? I think this is okay. Look how far forward they're actually playing.
Well, they're going to play this far forward. They know they have a support ult advantage. They know they're going to be able to have the Rally basically for free here to use.
Yeah, see, I think this is fine now, unless Dove's able to pick someone off. Rally from Admiral. Perfect. And their cart's rolling back this entire time, albeit at the slowest speed possible, but still. The Spitfire don't get punished for playing very far forward here. And look how much time's left, Matt. This is the hardest area in the game, I would argue, to push through as attackers. So, 30 seconds left for Paris. That's tall odds.
Yeah, it definitely is one of the worst. Paris will have the Transcendence here. You got to get Sparker out of this position, though. Oh, a nice shot by Dove, able to do so.
Yeah, that's what Sparker's been doing to him all round so far. So nice to see Dove notch one up himself. Transcendence here for Khan if we want to go aggressive, but Dove has just been very efficient here. Lander gets picked off. He had Transcendence, so now if you're the Spitfire, you just die on cart.
And Spitfire wise at the end there not to use any of these ultimates, so you'll be able to come in, The Gravitic Flux will get countered here by this Transcendence. They have enough, though, to live through the Transcendence and overclock of Sparker and Landon. That'll be the thing for Paris.
Gravitic Flux here. There's a Transcendence in play for Khan. He's the only player caught in the Flux here. The Khan very, very close. Spitfire going to go now, and they actually have a Transcendence to counter the Flux of Pistola. Sparker finally draws blood. It's going to be one falling first here. Rally in play right now for Dridro. And Khan's able to pick off Landon. Very aggressive positioning there for Sparker. He wraps around and it ends up being his undoing, but Poco's still alive. That's important. Girl Scout Cookie handed over to Khan, but Sigma so hard to deal with, and a blade from Backbone in the final moments will be enough to prevent the Eternal from finishing the map.
It's still good, though, for Paris. Like, it's essentially a map completion. Just don't allow London to complete the map, and you'll take this one here. They get it just about as far as you possibly could there towards the end, where it's pretty difficult to get in and get the card even this distance, right, to complete this map. There's so much high ground for the defenders coming out of the spawn through that choke specifically. So Paris, even though they don't get a map completion, still, I like the offensive push.
London there. To begin with, right, they started to look like they eased into their defensive hole, but whenever Paris were able to start a fight off with an ultimate, right, they were looking much better. That's what poke comps kind of work like, right? So, you know, if there's no pick, you know, if neither team is able to sort of just find like a free kill, sometimes it's just a matter of, okay, I'm just going to Gravitic Flux them now. Or, you know, I'm going to overclock and try and find a pick off. These poke compositions are really interesting when you mix the Genji in as well, because these Genjis are normally working pretty externally to the rest of their team. Try and take high ground or poke at mid into long range. There's no nano as well to sort of pair them up with here. So the job or the assignment is much more different for Genji in a poke composition. Keep an eye on that here. You'll see Eternal want to try and use the sort of high ground for Wub, and he and Backbone might have to duel a little bit.
Yeah, no, let's see. I think this first fight will be huge. Paris, well, they got stalled out on this first corner for a little bit. You had the first fight they ended up losing, then they lost Dove, wasted a little bit of time. I'll see if Paris can put together a good defense here at this corner. Would be massive to give them a shot at winning the map.
Yeah, London got a lot of value out of Admiral on this part of the map in that last round. A ton of healing, and Poker was really hard to eliminate. That's why their Discord Orb being on a Sigma at all times is so crucial. So Backbone here secured its route, right? But hit by a stray accretion and picked off immediately. That's the job for Genji, right? Get in, can you put some heal pressure down? Can you get a support out of position? If not, you're probably dead.
Yes, team wasn't close enough to capitalize, but now that they've lost Pistola, this is just going to be London rolling through the rest of Paris. Not going to be able to hold that corner and withstand the amount of damage and pressure coming down without that shield.
Well, rail headshot when you're discorded is an ungodly amount of damage, right? Sigma has a pretty large health pool, though. So, pretty astonishing that we're able to see them pick off Pistola with such ease there. But that's the name of the game with the poke comp. It's so volatile. Dove. Again, one right click can, you know, give his team a lot to work with here, but you can see that Pistola's forced to play further back than Poco did in the Simon position. Look at this. Push forward now. Disrupt the shots used.
Yeah, and you got so much more out of Admiral at the beginning. You may have this rally, which could be enough to push you around that corner, right? You can use rally in this type of situation. It would be huge. You lose Pistola again, now the rally comes out.
That's unreal. And it doesn't even look like there was a Discord Orb necessarily involved. That's been a Wub for most of the time. To make it harder for Wub to harass Sparker, they've just slapped the Discord on him and said, all right, have a go at it. Not good to lose your Sigma so early in both these fights. Something's not gelling for Paris.
Yes, and I think you get into a scary position where you're close to losing Pistola again. Do you end up having to pop, like whether it's a rally or a Transcendence to save him? London backs out a little bit, gets like one of those key ultimates out. You can't have him getting chunked down that fast, but you do see, you know, the Discord Orb on him pretty much all the time.
Oh yeah, be careful if I was Wub here. Disrupt the shot as Sparker wants to double back and get some healing. Keep an eye on that Discord Orb. Is still on Pistola right now. Gravitic Flux goes up. Transcendence is going to be in play. Spark is going to be healed before he touches the ground. So all is well.
That was nice.
Can they grasp? Drink through a Discord now, but it's going to be Khan going in with the Transcendence. It's not enough, though. Sparker shuts Wub down with that overclock. Somehow able to find these targets amid a flurry of activity. Pistola falling here. Paris completely scattered out of position. And it will eventually be brought down despite Dove's heroics. There's no escape for this Sojourn.
And what I really like there was that Pistola was actually able to use the accretion to interrupt Poco's Gravitic Flux. So
yeah.
London wins that without even getting the full value out of that, where Pistola used the Gravitic Flux, forces out Landon's Transcendence, and then interrupts Poco's, but not enough, as now Backbone has this blade, should be for free.
In he goes. They've lost Sparker already though, and Backbone just wants to work on Pistola. Or again, the name of the game is eliminate the Sigma first. And that means that Backbone doesn't have to take nearly as many risks up against the Cossack kicking Zen. Such a simple approach for the London Spitfire.
Especially when you're playing these comps. You can get aggressive with the Sigma comps, but it really kind of all huddles around the Sigma. Like, the Sigma is the linchpin of these type of compositions where, like, you have to play around the Sigma, and when you lose him, everything seems to fall apart around, because you have these players playing in positions that they can't really hold without having the Sigma's kit in the mix.
Good looks in that fight there from London. And the Eternal are a long way from those key support ultimates in this card. I mean, Paris are going to be in a similar position, but notice that London have actually put less emphasis on controlling the outside of the map, Matt. Instead, they stick to the card.
You see that London, they've had actually, who's this? Looked like Landon and Sparker. They've actually wrapped around like almost towards the spawn to try and get some of that position right away.
This puts Paris in a one-fight scenario because Paris weren't able to fight for high ground. They didn't want to commit to the card yet either, so they have to wait until the golden box of victory is right in front of them. Oh god, this is not good for Warp. Shield bash there. A lot of pressure as well on Dove. Admiral, impactful in the front line now. Has to move back for a moment, get topped up, and there's going to be a Transcendence here, and there it goes. Pistola's down again. Both teams without the Sigma in play, and Dove hoping for an insta-kill here with his ultimate, but can't find it. Admiral maybe forgetting his shield doesn't count for much in that scenario, but still he's able to shrug the damage off, and there's Sparker to get the job done. The London Spitfire make short work of a Paris Eternal who are still searching for answers.
I think the story, though, is that London is for real. Like, they are coming into the Midseason Madness, and they are just blowing teams out, trying to get to that global tournament by any means necessary. And they look well on their way. I mean, they are a very strong team right now.
So let's take a stock of this for a second. We've got Hardy who can play the Winston as well as that Reinhardt. So showing us that popular composition that we saw, you know, in our kickoff clash is very much, you know, within London's wheelhouse. Poco comes in, plays a fantastic Sigma. Backbone now can show us a great Mei, a Genji that really has impact, can switch over towards the Zed and do some great things there as well. All of a sudden, you have a bunch of jack-of-all-trades on this London roster, and you know they're trying to add to that roster as well. So the options for this London team are only increasing. Now, the Eternal are on the other side of that. They've made their pickups, right? They've made their gambits to try and shore up this roster, and yet they still aren't quite there.
It seems like Paris is trying to build up to where, like, almost using the way that London is kind of like built, right? Like, you know, London had these great contenders players, you know, you added a little bit, you moved around a little bit, and now you've started to see, as they've, you know, gotten great coaching and put in a position where they're able to, like, use some of these different kind of compositions to really amplify the skill that they have. Paris is, like, almost trying to get there, but, like, starting from, like, you know, step one, right? They've kind of moved around some pieces on the roster. Now you figure you do have the talent, you're close to having the talent, you have to kind of get the coaching in position, you have to kind of get the compositions working.
Would you say the talent's there, Matt?
Paris is very much a work in progress. Very much a work in progress, where London seems to be, you know, kind of now benefiting off of all of that process.
Yeah, we're snapshotting two teams at very different stages in the life cycle of an Overwatch franchise here. But let's have a look at our player of the match here. For me, honestly, pretty easy one. I think that Backbone was pretty incredible over the course of this series. The main picks, right? Not normally something you hear people refer to. Backbone was able to find kills before the fight started so often in this round that there was no real round.
I mean,
then moves to
the second point of Oasis barely existed. The Zenny didn't look bad. I mean, look, it's a one-mem Zenyatta play where they kind of they kind of look like the dominant team a lot of the time.
I think we'll see more of this stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
And I think that's also because, like, you know, London haven't brought in their sort of extra flex support player here. Obviously, Admiral is just much more of a specialist when it comes to quote-unquote main supports here. But you're able to rotate Backbone in here to have a great game. Now, final blows, 6.6 per 10. He probably only played about that much, Sen, because I know he's like 5-2 at one point. But
yeah.
Listen, 2.2 deaths per 10 in a larger sample size would be fantastic. A good example, though, of what Backbone could do against a team that's looking a little weaker.
If I'm them, you either obviously start to need to like use this in scrimmages against top teams, or no, don't know their schedule off the top of my head coming up, but like if you have a really tough matchup, like maybe, you know, if you've secured your Midseason Madness spot or you're close to it, like maybe you can play him for an extended period on the Zen, right? Give him some real game environment play. I think it's way different. Or if you have another plan with maybe another signing or something for the Zen, and just kind of use them in the meantime. But Backbone's definitely proven to be a very valuable player for this team.
This is one of the reasons why Christopher's name is being put in the hat for sort of Coach of the Year here, because they've really been able to turn this team around by focusing on the strengths of their individual players now. Their name, they may not have made names for themselves so much in contenders, but they're really doing it in a big way here in the Overwatch League. So congrats to London 7-3 now. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we've got much more coming at you here on our first day of week 3 of the Midseason Madness qualifiers.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Upper Deck, the official trading card of the Overwatch League. And by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Welcome to Game Break, everybody. I'm here joined by Backbone from London Spitfire. Backbone, congratulations on the win. I mean, this game was very quick 3 in Overwatch for the London Spitfire. How'd you guys get it done? You guys seem very comfortable, very dominant.
I mean, we've been quite lucky with our schedule this stage. We've had a couple of games like this that you don't need to play the best in the world to beat some of these teams how they're playing, right? So even if we're not playing at our best, we still get it done very quick, you know.
I think it wasn't just luck itself. Sure, like I think you guys didn't play like San Francisco Shock and them, but they were still decent teams. Couple of them were. And I think that sort of leads into my next question, where, as you know, right now London Spitfire, you guys are looking really nice, and you guys are currently 4-0 in this stage. And from what I know, you guys are playing Washington Justice next, and then Dallas Fuel to end the stage. Backbone, how confident are you that you guys could actually go undefeated for this stage?
I think the Washington game's definitely, like, we should win that. I have confidence in that. Dallas is obviously, Dallas are a really good team, but I'm confident that we have the chance to beat them. I think it'll be a good match either way, right? No matter what, we'll make sure it's a good match with Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited for you guys too. And my last question, I just wanted to congratulate you guys for the newest signing. You guys have a new flex support player called Boneback. I think he had a really great debut match today. What are your thoughts on him, and can we expect to see more of him in the future?
He's a really nice guy, Boneback, handsome too, I think. And we picked him up from EU ranked ladder, slid him in a couple of days ago. We had to play with him a bit earlier this season as well, and he did really good then. I think it's possible we could see more of him. You never know. He's a really nice guy. He'll probably weasel his way into the team again.
Okay, he's nice and very talented. All right, I'm actually really excited to see both of you guys, Backbone and Boneback, and your names kind of sounds similar, so it's gonna be good time. Yeah, Backbone, that's it for the interview. Thank you so much for your time, and again, big congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
So talented, smart, handsome, friendly,
humble.
Yeah,
we got it all. Yeah, of course, if you missed it, that acquisition, there was, of course, a tweet coming out from the London Spitfire announcing Boneback, the newest acquisition. And I feel like I've seen him before.
It's the
mustache.
mustache.
I don't know. Maybe it's the mustache. Maybe it's just one of those familiar you faces.
Yeah.
We all have them.
Yeah. British people. They all look the same.
It's like, Backbone's twin.
Could be. Is that the evil twin then?
Yeah, he does look. Oh yeah, definitely, 100%. That's an evil twin look for sure.
It's the glasses for me. I don't know. It just works. So congratulations, of course, to London Spitfire. A great new pickup. And we should discuss the match we just got to watch. Now, he did just say in the interview, no, I'm sorry, we do have to go through it. But we did just hear in the interview that he does admit that they didn't have the hardest of schedules so far, so they are going undefeated against these teams. Those are must-win scenarios for London Spitfire, but they're looking dominant during those wins as well.
Yeah, which is kind of funny because it's the shoes on the other foot now for the London Spitfire, because last year they were very much in the same boat that the Eternal are right now, where London Spitfire, they look like a very coherent team. They have a lot of different looks. We saw them play the Rush, we saw them play the Wrecking Ball, we saw them play the Sigma on the Circuit Royale. So it seems like everything's starting to come together for them. It seems like they're well coached, and the players are stepping up where they need to. Backbone on that Genji on that Circuit Royale. We know he's had a tough time of it on that hero in the past, but he was actually able to put together some good numbers, understood his limits. While on the other hand, Wub, I think, is really struggling to find value on that Genji right now. I think as a team, Dove is their hit scan player and their primary Tracer player right now, so it doesn't feel like they have that confidence of the look. Yes, Wub can play the Tracer, but it looks like he's more comfortable playing the Genji, but it's just not working for them, and it's disappointing because a lot of us had high expectations of this Paris Eternal team heading into the season because of they went 8-8, I believe it was last season. They didn't make a lot of changes, but it feels like it's just not really coming together for them. Their picks aren't really making as much sense. Their individual performances aren't really living up to that hype, and they're just losing matches. They're 1-9 now, and the season is slipping away from them, and it looks like they're regressing instead of progressing right now, and that's the thing that worries me for them. I want to see them start going back to the drawing board, maybe start finding comps that they're comfortable on, kind of how London Spitfire started in this season. Play the rush, find some confidence, play to your styles, and then build off of that, because right now it feels like they're spreading themselves too thin and not doing anything well.
So we actually kind of talked about the compositions, you know, last week as well, because Danny struggled with the Doomfist, and I want to admit that, like, that is a legitimate problem for the Paris Eternal, that they have to flex between Dan and Vestola, and like they can't find their groove really, with neither of them really shining in their roles. I think they're kind of playing the right compositions, but it seems to be more of a coordination issue and team chemistry issue, because we've seen these players pop off in the past, but right, like in this match, we saw so many like poorly timed ultimates. I think there's a lot of maybe like communication issues. You brought in 2 American players into this team like mid-season. I saw Wob as well. He tweeted out he's going through some physical issues. We hope that, you know, ends well and like he improves upon that. But it just seems a team that is a bit, you know, they're all over the place a little bit, and ironically, they could really use like a people's person kind of coach to like get this team to rally together, iron out some of those communication issues, and get everybody on the same page. And I think those small adjustments, like just being able to track your ultimates correctly and utilize them together, it's gonna make a big difference for Paris, but they need to reiterate right now.
I mean, the good news is that we do see something a little different each and every match. Last time we complained about the Dawn. You mentioned it in the pre-show, Danny. You'd rather see Vestola on the Sigma. That is a change which has been made today. So changes are being made.
Yeah.
They continue being made, and that is always a good sign. Now, we do have a next match to preview, and that one is a tough one, I feel. Houston Outlaws and Atlanta Reign will go to bats. All of us did give Atlanta Reign our vote. However, this could be a very close match.
Yeah, we actually just saw the Houston Outlaws as much as it was a 3-0, and there were some tragic moments that we're not really going to highlight too much more. I think the Houston Outlaws, they look better. They look like they're improving, but the Atlanta Reign has just been a very solid team, especially in this meta on the back of Hawk being able to play that Sigma, be able to play that Doomfist. It's just been a good look, and as you said in the pre-show, Danny, Kai is currently at the top of the leaderboards for Sojourn. They've looked very comfortable. My big concern for Atlanta is
Look
what
at
you've
the background.
Oh, hey, of course. Okay, so stop the analysis.
Stop the analysis.
Oh my God,
There's dogs.
Okay, what was I saying? Atlanta, just play well and they will get the win. Houston Outlaws stay on the objective. I love dogs.
They're way too cute. We're getting treated to like overdoses of cuteness every single day here on the Blizzard campus. It's phenomenal. So if our favorite teams lose, we're still in a good place.
We're still
Everything's very, very good for us. Yeah, no, it's going to be a very, very close match, I hope. I hope they take it the distance, because it's all or nothing for these teams. The winner will punch their ticket to Hawaii. They will be joining 3 other teams which already clinched their spot for the mid-season madness. And all of that will happen in just a little bit. And for the action, we're going to hand it over to Joss and Necra, who's returned. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, good to be back. Rose, it's good to be back in the casting booth, or separate booths, I suppose, in this instance. But yeah, it's been a nice little time off, I can imagine, just away from all the C9s.
Yeah, hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be back. I kind of thought I needed a funny accent to be able to cast with you, so I did my best. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. No, you know what? There's been a lot of accents on the broadcast recently. We've had, I had a double Australian pairing, so it's at least nice to get a little bit of British back, I suppose, of Euros. Thank you very much.
I
that
tried.
definitely won't get clipped and
Just
chipped.
for you.
There's no way.
Just for you,
There's no way. All right, Houston Outlaws versus the Atlanta Reign. Winner here. They do punch their ticket to the mid-season madness. Pretty scary. I think Houston Outlaws just want to forget their games previous, just move on to the next one. Atlanta Reign, on the other hand, oh my God, they are looking so good. And one of the biggest things about this match, I think, is going to be the Sojourn matchup. Kai versus Merit, 2 of the best Sojourns right now in the game, Rose.
They are indeed. I mean, just taking a look at their railgun accuracy that they have had leading up into the match today, I mean, they're neck and neck neck, Jaws. It's 57% accuracy there coming in for Merit and 58% accuracy coming in for Kai. So definitely keeping an eye out on both of those players as we head into the match today.
Yeah, I mean, the desk already showed Kai's stat card at the very beginning of the day, and it was like first, second, third. Like,
yeah.
The guy's an absolute menace on the Sojourn right now. And we'll see if Merrick can match them. Of course, it is Pelican and Merrick in the starting roster today. And what's quite funny, Rose, is we've seen a lot of adaptation from the Houston Outlaws. We've seen Piggy subbed in here and there, but it feels like they're way more comfortable with Dante on Doomfist.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that as well in some of the series that the Houston Outlaws have had this stage. I mean, Dante's been kind of playing double duty. You see Dante on the Doomfist, which definitely seems to be the bread and butter of the Houston Outlaws, but sometimes, like when Piggy subbed into the roster to play that tank role, you often see Dante flexing over to the DPS, and I mean, that's what he's good at. He's good at, well, I mean, he's good at everything, but, you know.
That is extreme. Yeah, I mean, Dante's pretty good at everything. That's why he's in the tank role right now. Let's have a look at their opponents today. The Atlanta Reign. We got Kai. We've already talked about him, so we'll talk about someone else. We'll talk about Venom. Why not? I mean, Venom's been a superstar on the Tracer. Definitely his best hero by far. And it's something you need in this meta. A good Tracer player. Also a good Genji player, to be fair as well. It's also quite handy. Hawk has been fantastic. The backline, a little bit lackluster a couple of weeks ago, but really just pulled out their bootstraps and they're ready to rock and roll today. Both these teams sitting around the similar scoreline, Rose. 6-4 for the Atlanta Reign, 6-3 for the Houston Outlaws. But the winner of today will go straight to the Midseason Madness, which is what they're playing for. Of course, the Midseason Madness, we're going to see some cross the waters action. So we got some of the APAC teams playing against some of the North American teams or the Western teams. So that's going to be incredibly exciting. But we're going to get into the game in just a moment. What do you expect here, Rose? We're going on to Lijiang Tower as our first match.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Atlanta Reign, they've looked really, really good around the team composition core of the Sojourn, the Tracer, and the Doomfist, which is probably why we're seeing Hawk in the starting lineup. In fact, we haven't seen a whole lot of Gator, who is more comfortable on those main tank roles. And so, you know, kind of, especially when we take a look at the fact we're starting out on Control Center, I definitely expect Atlanta Reign to kind of come out with that Sojourn Tracer Doomfist, but then kind of flexing around their support backline in order to play to that particular map's strengths. And then for the Houston Outlaws, it's going to be kind of similar, I feel like. Definitely the Doomfist as we see Dante in the lineup, but then also kind of looking at how they're going to support that with that backline.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost a guarantee, Dante on the Doom. I mean, they could be cooking up something crazy in the lab and coming out with the Wrecking Ball. We've seen Mikey on the San Francisco Shock play ball on control maps. I don't think Dante's got that in his back pocket. Maybe he does. Maybe that's a secret strat for later down the line. But Jake's always kind of teasing these secret strats. I know he had a word with Custer when we were over in Arlington, Texas.
Yeah, I don't let him bait you.
We got something cooking, Scott.
No, no they don't. No, they don't. We're going to see the Doomfist. I'm putting that down super quickly here. Don't listen to the rumors. It's all bait.
Oh, well. You can't be the best Sojourn in the league if you're dead. Nice right click from Lastro to start the fight off. I mean, lucky, I guess they lose Kai super early. They're going to be able to get back and tussle on the point for a little while before it does unlock. I see the old charge, I suppose. Yeah, Pelican put OK in the chat. Very good. So it's going to be a Venom versus Pelican, Tracer versus Genji. Genji's so good at diving into the backline, of course, getting the resets off of assists. But OG and Kai doing what they love. That's killing people.
Yeah.
Atlanta Reign do manage to find the fight and the point.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Kai got taken out super early actually allowed Atlanta Reign to reset and just kind of figure out how they want to approach the Houston Outlaws. This point is really, really good for the attacking team when you take a look at how many avenues you have to be able to cover as the defenders. So Houston Outlaws just kind of got swarmed there, and Atlanta able to take control of the point. Now we're looking at Hawk, though, just kind of continuing to start off these engagements for the Reign.
Yeah, the Reign really want to go fast. They've got Moira and Lucio. No speed boost available for the Outlaws. Venom hit with the recall. Forces Dante to actually use that power block, but Merit with 100 energy manages to score a kill onto Venom. But with Dante's not, I wouldn't say unwillingness to go in, but he was not able to go in because he didn't have power block. Venom forced it so early, so he's not willing to just dive in because he doesn't have that defensive tool when then the team can kind of round about him and make sure he stays alive. Houston Outlaws lose the next fight, and the Atlanta Reign still holding on. They're going to go fast, Rose. Coalescence.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the other thing about Dante not being able to go in is, you know, OG can kind of just move everybody around quickly.
Ooh. Pulse hits the wall. Iris going pretty low. Lamp's been used already, but Ultraviolet on the flank. Big Coalescence kills 2. The Atlanta Reign tempo very much in their favor. Outlaws have not had a say in the matter. Lastro, by the way, rose 40% towards the ult. Like, unbelievably far behind right now.
Yeah, this has been, Lastro's been having some difficulty finding value coming into these matchups. I think it's just, you know, the front line of the Houston Outlaws goes down so quickly.
Hey, yo. That was a max range dash, Shuriken melee. Okay.
Okay, Pelican.
That's a good way to start the fight. Atlanta Reign can keep this fight going, though. There is the blade. Will the beat come out? It's a little bit late. Not enough to save Kai. Only 3 for the Reign get the over health, as Pelican is still swinging away, trying to chunk those health bars down. Merit pops the overclock. Doesn't get too much done, apart from a little bit of extra damage. And the Outlaws do manage to gain control of the point for the first time this series, with 95% for the Reign.
Yeah, but the other thing that you have to look at is the Reign are already postured to get back into this fight super quickly, and Hawk can just go in super aggressive with the ultimate online.
Pelican in trouble. Look at that focus fire onto Kai. Lastro pushed him into a wall. Dante did the same. Window for the Outlaws to stop the Reign from walking up on them, but they let the point go for free. Not the worst, I suppose. You only give Reign a couple of percent up to 99, and the Outlaws do manage to find the flip. Lastro's got the rally for next fight, but Kai got focused so hard in that fight as soon as he popped that ult.
Yeah, but that's what the Houston Outlaws need to do. You know, Kai is definitely a big threat to the team, and you've got to make sure he's taken out of the fight before he finds value.
Power punch for Hawk, not going in. The rally came out from Lastro. Oh, Pelican appeared out of nowhere there. Yeah, Punch has a big hitbox, by the way. Sometimes there's just random people flying in front of you and you get them. Hawk does end up going down to Pelican. Good start for the Outlaws. Only expending the single rally in this fight so far. Stick onto Dante, but somehow manages to get out and kill Kai. He does get chased up by Venom, but that should be about it. The Atlanta Reign throw the pulse bomb in at the very end. They don't get anything with it, and the Outlaws control still.
I think Dante is an acceptable sacrifice to keep ticking up the percentage on the point there. Houston Outlaws are in a good position as well. You know, Merit's working up to the ultimate. Pelican's going to have another blade, and Atlanta Reign really don't have a way to shut that down.
Coalescence. Hawk going pretty low. That disruptor shot doing a fair bit of work, but not anything the Coalescence can't handle. Iris falling is not a good start. Merit's going to have to go crazy with his overclock, but he's getting forced all the way back to nearest spawn. Pelican trying to create some more space, but with a blade with no nano, gets almost nothing. The flip for the Reign and the beat in their back pocket. Can the Outlaws touch? They just in time get there, but so many resources expended. The rally, the window, they find nothing. And the Atlanta Reign claim round 1.
I love the way that the Atlanta Reign played that last team fight as well, engaging with the Coalescence, and then kind of just making Houston Outlaws a little bit too far on the back foot. I mean, Pelican got that blade up just a touch late and then couldn't really find value with it. So I like that the Atlanta Reign kind of continue to play that patiently, but we're already seeing some switch-ups here, Jaws. Look at the back line. We're switching over from the Atlanta Reign to the Zenyatta instead of the Brigitte, and of course, on the other side of things, it's a full swap of the back line to the Zenyatta and the Ana here for the Houston Outlaws.
Yeah, you can defend yourself a little bit easier now with Zen, with a kick, of course. Especially around this point, a lot of environmentals can happen, so potentially why that's being chosen. Makes the most sense too. The Zenyatta Discord Orb on the Doomfist, you are toast.
Yep.
If you don't find cover, disengage the orb. Or disconnect the orb, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be something that both of these teams are going to have to deal with, but Atlanta Reign already have to get reset.
Yeah, big reset. Big kills. All right, 100 energy shot through the team, ends OG's life. Wasn't even a headshot. OG just took a bit of extra damage, and the railgun just finished him off. Outlaws find the cap.
I don't know how long they're going to be able to hold on to this, though. Of course, this point's a little more defensible, so as long as they get set up and they're able to take these big angles, I mean, look how far back Lastro is. May have to move up a little bit as Atlanta Reign just kind of trying to kite around some of this damage.
Yeah, the Reign don't have this the Lucio for the speed boost anymore, so it's a bit harder to actually pin down Lastro. Merit under a lot of pressure. Dante a little bit more so as Kai finds the kill. Discord Orb and a railgun does end his life, and Outlaws, it look like they out-rotated themselves there. The Atlanta Reign just walked to point basically for free because Outlaws are so concentrated on trying to hold that mega health pack route.
Yeah, and that unfortunately came back to bite them. So as Atlanta Reign start to match the percentage on the point, they're really starting to look up to these ultimates that are going to start coming online here. It's going to be about the transcendences for me. That's really how you're going to be able to withstand the damage coming in from just smacking into each other with these comps.
Yeah, the overclocks will see straight through that transcendence, but they aren't quite near them just yet. Both Merit and Kai a little bit further away. Merit's doing a good job of actually checking Venom. There's the nano onto Dante. Can he find much? He's going a little bit more defensive as he sees the dive come in from Venom and Hawk. Dante gets stunned into the wall using a power block of his own and a transcendence to make sure they survive that meteor strike. And now Hawk, with a very little disengaged tools left, has to escort himself to the back of his team, but with Ultraviolet's transcendence, the Atlanta Reign should be good to clean on up. The later support ultimate always wins out. Kai and Hawk taking numbers, and the Outlaws get pushed back once again.
I know that the late transcendence can definitely help out a team, but you also have to give so much credit to how Atlanta Reign were able to just sustain through that fight. OG ended up having that immortality field up at the perfect time to be able to chew through a bunch of this damage coming in. I mean, Iris unfortunately just couldn't get much done there with the nano either, and then the front line crumbled.
Yeah, really. It folded faster than a bit of paper, that's for sure. Okay, Outlaw's got a lot of ults to bear, but look at this. Already using that window, forcing Outlaws away from the center stage. Pelican in a whole lot of trouble, and OG standing all the way at the back. Hawk did sleep, but this ends maybe now for the Outlaws. A few percent before the Reign end up taking the map. Okay, there it is. Atlanta Reign are going to take it as soon as they kill Dante. Pelican with the blade still in his back pocket, hasn't used it just yet. Dante, Meteor Strike on the point, but Atlanta Reign full force. Take him out, easy peasy. Merit had no chance in that fight. The voice line was popped, and so with his life, and the Atlanta Reign clean control to start off the series, 2-0.
Really like the way that Atlanta Reign are playing this so far. I mean, yeah, that first round looked really back and forth there for Houston, but Atlanta Reign just put on a clinic to really how to play this composition, especially when you've got the Baptiste with the amplification matrix up and running. That Sojourn's going to do so much damage, especially on these long off angles.
Yeah, that was pretty tough, but it's okay. It's control, you know, a little bit more variable, you could say. We'll have to see what they do in map number 2. We're back, guys. Don't go anywhere.